pretty much everybody needs an estate plan. It's especially important for people who don't have so much, because you want to make sure that what you do have gets to the right people and gets to them in an orderly and efficient manner.
One thing I get a lot of questions about is questions about what trusts are, how does one set it up? If you can kind of give us a little bit more insight into that.
Sure, yeah. So there are two basic ways to go in the estate planning world. There's the trust-based plan and there's the will-based estate plan. The will-based estate plan, in that case, the will is going to be the main vehicle for passing your estate to your beneficiaries. With a trust-based estate plan, the trust becomes the main vehicle. The main difference is that the trust is going to avoid probate, whereas the will, you can have a will, but you're still going to have to go through the probate courts. You're still going to have to pay a probate attorney to probate that will and go through the hassle.
To take a step back, talk to some of the viewers may not know what probate is.
Yeah, so probate is a legal process where a will is admitted to probate court and an administrator is appointed over the estate who has official authority to act on behalf of the estate, to access the deceased's bank accounts, sell their real estate, and pay off any remaining debts and distribute the remaining property to the beneficiaries.
So what happens when there is no will? What goes on especially in regards to real estate?
Yeah, good question. So there's a bit of an analysis you have to walk through. First question, if there's no will, what assets are there? You kind of have to think about assets in two categories. You've got probate assets and then you've got non-probate assets. Probate assets include things like real estate, cash that you've got under the mattress, vehicles, jewelry, guns, LLCs, business interest stocks. All of those are subject to the terms of your will, or if you don't have a will, they're subject to the laws of the state of Texas as far as who gets those. So if someone doesn't have a will, it's a question of saying, okay, what probate assets do they have that would necessitate us to go to probate court? If the only thing you're dealing with is real estate, there's a good chance you could sidestep probate entirely and get away with what's called an Affidavit of Heirship. And that's a document signed by an heir plus two disinterested witnesses saying that these are the folks who are entitled to the property by law. That gets published in the real property records, and third parties like title companies will rely on that and accept that as proof of who actually inherits the property. So if the only thing you're dealing with is real estate and there is no will, good chance you could just get by with a simple, quick, easy Affidavit of Heirship. If there are other accounts, like let's say there's a bank account out there, you'd probably have to go through the probate court to get that, because no bank will release money to an administrator or heirs without an order from a probate court saying who the heirs are.
Oh.
So that's kind of the analysis you have to walk through. And then a further question is, let's say there's money there, let's say there's a bank account. How much is in that bank account? If it's only $5,000, well, it's going to cost you at least $6,000 to go through probate where there is no will. So it's almost not even worth going through probate at all. So those are some of the calculations that you have to make when you're determining what the appropriate probate procedure is.
So one of the things that kind of jumps in my mind is that really it's really for people that I think that are a little bit more well off or essentially wealthy. Is it really mainly for estate planning? Is it really meant for people that are a little bit more wealthier and how to divide their assets when they pass away, or what type of person really needs an estate attorney?
Yeah, not at all. So there is that misconception that estate planning is only for the wealthy, that trusts are only for the wealthy. That couldn't be further from the truth. The fact of the matter is, pretty much everybody needs an estate plan. It's especially important for people who don't have so much, because you want to make sure that what you do have gets to the right people and gets to them in an orderly and efficient manner. And we think of the death and assets aspect of estate planning, but there's also the lifetime aspect. So an estate plan is going to take care of you while you're alive. You've got things like medical powers of attorney, living wills, and things like that. And even if you don't have any money, you don't want to be in a position where you don't have a living will in place and you're in a permanent coma and there's no brain activity and somebody's making a decision.
So it's not just for if during death, but also when you're maybe like you said, having a coma or something.
Exactly, yeah. So an estate plan, it's really two things. It's a plan that provides for your assets and loved ones upon your death, but it's also there for your lifetime. So in the case of disability or incapacity, your estate plan is also going to take care of you while you're living.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's really important because it's one of those things like you hope you have to have it right because once you're gone, you can't go back and correct things because you're
Right.
literally gone.
Right. It's only going to work one time, and it better
Yeah,
work right that
yeah,
one
because
time.
you have no supervision at that point of what happens from
No,
there.
not at all.
So one of the things I'm kind of generally getting from you is that like having a will and having some type of plan for when you die is generally a good idea.
Yes.
And so I guess my follow up to that is like, so say if someone wanted to like get started, what are the things that they need to do? Like, to just go straight to an attorney, or what is the thought process that need to go in their mind, or how do they go about like finding an attorney, or what's like the general process to get started of starting some type of plan, even if you don't have like a big estate, like you said, probably just having a will is a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a will in place is a great thing. As far as where to start with that, I would say reach out to an estate planning attorney, have a consultation with them. A lot of them will not charge you anything.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to kind of give you the 101 on estate planning. They'll alert you to issues that may be unique to your circumstances. They'll help you kind of put together a plan that achieves your goals, and you can decide if you want to move forward with them or not. But I think meeting with an estate planning attorney is a great first step.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it doesn't hurt to do a little preliminary research on your own. There's a wealth of information on Google, on the internet. So get on Google, do a little Googling, see what you can find out, and that might lead you down the right path.
So say I have like, okay, I want to get a will or do some type of estate planning. Like, when I'm like talking to people, how do I know if they're any good or not?
So one good way to vet people is the internet.
Okay.
Look for
So something like Google My Business Reviews or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great first step to kind of narrow your search and find someone. If they've got a good number of reviews, that's a pretty good indicator that they're at least halfway decent. And then from there, it's a matter of speaking with them, seeing if they're able to answer your questions and adequately address your concerns. And you want to feel comfortable with them. You want to feel like this is an attorney I can work with and who gets me and gets what I'm trying to accomplish. So I would say, yeah, start with the internet, meet with one or two, and if you find one you like, then go with them.
Okay.